up and put them down.
No cool.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Like me out.
Thanks, guys, but I'll take it from you.
Like a good neighbor, in my office.
Okay, so welcome to part 2 of advertising. First thing we're going to talk about is the basic structure of advertising agencies. There's basically 4 departments: account planning, creative development, media coordination, and account management. The main responsibility of account planning is to make sure when they're trying to figure out a strategy for advertising, they're taking into account, of course, the client, because they are your customer, the team themselves, and consumers, the people who are out there, who they think would want to buy said good or service. Consumers over the years have changing tastes, people change, generations change, so it's kind of hard to figure out what they want. That's why market research is so important to have. They want to know what people are thinking, behaviors, buying patterns, their lifestyles. Yes, of course, an important aspect is demographics, which is we've talked about your general categories of people that could be ages of very big demographic. You're going to market differently to 18 to 34-year-olds than you are people over the age of 50. So we're different because it's a different mindset. People are at different places. People like different things. They have different experiences. So it's you're not going to try and market in the same way to both sets of groups. But then there's also psychographics. Psychographics are much more in-depth. They look at actual lifestyles. They look at real how you think. It could be religious. It could be political. Psychographics are truly personal categories about who you are as an individual and who they are looking at. So these are even more personal than demographics. Demographics are very superficial. Psychographics really look into groups of people by their personal preferences or beliefs, belief systems. So that they want to really get into the inner workings of people when it comes to psychographics. And there's the values and lifestyles. That's what psychographics deals with. You'll see, if you're in advertising, you'll see a lot about vowels. And one of the big differences, and what vowels does, is they put so much research into this. They assume that not every product is suited for a person out there with money. That's why they go into such deep detail when they're looking for that information. One good example involving the vowels system is what they do with automobile sale. For those people that they deem who are achieved or experiencers, they say they tend to watch more sports or news, and they say it's thought that they prefer luxury cars, SUVs. But on the other group, they say that seem to be drawn to TV dramas, documentaries. They tend to go more towards minivans and gas-efficient vehicles such as hybrid. Now we come to the creative development team. This is where we have a lot of writers and artists and production people coming up with the ideas and trying to create these commercials and ads and whatever format they might have. It could be print, it could be websites, it could be television, it could be radio. These are the people who develop the ideas for the individual ads that are being created. When you're dealing with print, the creative department's coming out with rough sketches for the print, the online ads. This is where you get your words. This is where you get your graphics. For radio, it's a little different. You're coming up with scripts because, yes, you need radio scripts before you produce the commercials. They also choose who the narrator is going to be, the different sound effects, their sound effects. All depends on the individual radio ad. Heard a lot of different types of ads. There's lots of different production elements that go into just audio. Even though it's audio, there's still a whole lot of elements that go along with that. Now with television, they come up with a storyboard. I'm very familiar with storyboards. We I deal with that when it comes to television film production. It's basically what the storyboard is think of it almost like a comic book of sorts. Setting in a storyboard, you are setting up the basically scene by scene. Here we have a scene opening up. Here's another scene. Then we go to this. Just basically giving people an idea of what they're going to be seeing in this commercial, scene to scene, to kind of give them an idea, and telling the story as it goes on, and sometimes actually reading out the scripts as if they were reading out the scripts of that commercial as they're going from picture to picture in the storyboard. If you're talking about online or digital, you're talking about websites. It could be games, downloads, lots of different things with that. Interactivity has become a very important aspect when they are dealing with these tools and these strategies and within the production, because interactivity has become very popular. It's not just being passive anymore. People want to be involved, so they've taken that into account as well. In the advertising industry, the creative side and the research side can sometimes butt heads. You'll find there's similar conflicts in other industries, especially in more creative industries, such as television or film or as well. So there's always going to be some sort of conflict. With all the conflicts that might pop up within the course of creating advertisements, both sides understand that they can't really predict which campaigns will succeed, which will fail. Sometimes you can do all the research in the world and you think you've hit the nail on the head, and it just does not work. Sometimes that campaign just doesn't make a dent into the public, and they gotta scrap that and move on to the next campaign. Next part in the advertising agencies, we have our media coordination. You have your media buyers, and these are the people they're choosing. They're buying different media based on suitability, target audience, effectiveness of ads. They basically decide what ads are going to be carried on which type of media. When I think about television, certain ads you'll find on certain events or certain channels, such as if you're watching any sports or most popular sports leagues, that's usually a male-dominated demographic. So what you'll see is stuff like cars and beer, lots of beer on there. So and certain kinds of cars that you'll see on there. They're the ones who are deciding, okay, we're going to take Budweiser, and they're going to be playing in all the Baltimore Orioles games, just to do a local connection there. And then if you remember, we've already stated the fact that there's certain products, certain home products that are marketed more to women because they realize a lot of things around the house are chosen and bought by women in the household. You'll find those products being advertised on programs that usually attract a female demographic. A lot of these are sales driven, they're commission driven. For when you're dealing with money, that's something you have to think about. But there's also a thing called incentive clauses. These incentive clauses are worked into the contracts with the agencies and the campaigns and the plans they have for certain advertising campaigns and what is going where. Basically, if you hit certain sales goals and certain sales goals are met by that advertising campaign, then they will go up. If that company or that business doesn't hit a certain number because of your advertising campaign, then the incentive clause will go down. So you probably want to do as good a job as possible and getting as many sales as possible for your clients, because then if their numbers go up, your personal numbers go up.
Show me the money!
One strategy the advertising agencies try to do is saturation advertising. They're basically hitting you constantly over and over and over and over again with the same advertising, the same commercials, the same types of commercials over and over again. There's one that comes to mind.
We just won another round of light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light sure tastes great.
Let's fill it. Tastes great.
They use this advertisement so many times. It just went on for years and years and years and years. I grew up with this Miller Lite beer campaign. Tastes great, less filling. All those years, you knew those former athletes made their name again by being in these ads. Hey, look, it's this guy, or it's that guy, or it's that athlete.
Shit! I didn't get my turn yet. I'm gonna break this tie.
The last department in your typical advertising agency is your account client management. Account executives. These are the people who are the salespeople. Right? They're the ones who bring in the business. They're the ones who take care of the accounts, making sure they're getting the clients. They're having the people come in. They're making sure they're taking care of the accounts. They're keeping track of sales. They're making sure the client's money goes up, so the agency's money goes up, so your personal money will go up. Because a lot of that is based on commission, as we already said. So these are the people who are the salespeople trying to bring in the clients and bring in as many new customers as possible to get out their good or service and let people know what they have to offer. All right, now let's go into the most recent form of advertising, something you're very familiar with, but it is the most recent of all the different types, and that's online advertising. Started back in the 90s when the web popped up. As soon as there was basically the web, there was advertisement. So that's what I keep telling you. It doesn't matter what new outlet comes out or new form, they always find a way to advertise on it. First, we had banners. We still have banners, but that was the first thing that was out there. And it was either across the top of or the side of a web page. But now it's exploded into many different forms. They've had so many different forms: video, sponsorships, pop-ups, pop-unders, flash media, multimedia ads, interstitials. They pop up in a new screen window as when you're clicking to a new web page. Isn't that lovely? They find new and interesting ways to get you to watch their online commercials. There was email ads. There was classified ads. Of course, spam. Good old spam. It's more. I wonder if you guys know what spam is before email. It's not a very good luncheon meat, but hey, take a look at this.
Morning. Morning. What you got then? Well, there's egg and bacon, egg, sausage and bacon, egg and spam, egg, bacon and spam, egg, bacon, sausage and spam, spam, bacon, sausage and spam, spam, egg, spam, bacon and spam. I don't like spam! Spam, 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 spam. I don't like spam!
Definitely not that kind of spam. The top type of web advertising now is paid search advertising. Believe it or not, before this entire online advertising thing going on now, Google and Yahoo, some other search sites used to be pretty impartial with their search results. Not so much anymore. So when you go searching for something, they'll push you to one or another product because of advertising strategies that they use. So you have to be careful with the search engines. Then they graduated to what we have now, analytics, and anytime you even say something now. I talked about a certain pair of sneakers, and oh look, 2 minutes later, there it is, an advertisement for that said pair of sneakers. Now they're just spying on us, Big Brother, just trying to see in a whole new way of market research, but what else are they hearing about as well, which kind of makes you think, what's going on here? Now online advertising's about 30%, more than 30% of all advertising, just growing more and more and more and more. Now, if you become more familiar, they're targeting individuals. They're targeting you and me, and it is kind of annoying. It is very annoying to have that. When all these social media sites popped up and started asking you about, oh, what do you like? They didn't care about who you were, or, oh, look, I like this and I like this. It was all to build an online profile of you so they could perfectly market to you. They want to know absolutely everything about you, and by simply either downloading apps or trying to find things on the web or whatever the case may be. Every time you do that, you are saying, "Oh, I'm interested in this," and then let's add that to their profiles, and then we can specifically market our approach to you individually. Before it was all this market research, but now everybody's just giving it to them, and they're using the information we give them and because of whatever thing we downloaded. It could be an app or a program or whatever, or it could be just information. Oh, I'm going to put all this information on my profile for this, that, or the other thing for that piece of social media, and you're just telling them, okay, this is who I am. They collect a lot of this information from cookies and online surveys. And one of the main ways they do it is to, sign up to win this free prize of some sort, or a free trip here, or you can win tickets to this game or this concert, and they have you hooked. And when they do that, those cookies are tracking what you do. If you're on a certain site, it recognizes you. It knows what you're doing on that site. It knows what you're looking for. So they're just constantly building a profile on you. That wonderful smartphone you have with you everywhere, it knows where you are, and then it knows your demographic, and then it can tell where you are, and then, hey, this person's in this city, and going by what we know they like and their demographic, hey, they might actually want to go to this restaurant or this store. So let's make sure we put up an ad on their smartphone so they know about it. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Social media is giving so many different so much information. Some sites will ask you if you liked an ad or not. Sometimes, why don't you like this ad? And they ask you, and you have to give some sort of reason, and they're getting more information on you. There's also been a huge controversy. There's also lots of rumblings, and people are not so happy with whether people have to tell. There's also been a big stink about people making sure they tell. There's also a big stink of people on social media saying if they're being paid to promote certain products, you might not even know it. Sometimes it's bloggers, some people who could be reviewing any number of things: restaurants, sneakers, clothes, experiences, go to bars or clubs or any number of things they might, or food or pizza or whatever. And sometimes they don't mention that they have been paid to promote a certain product. Celebrities have been used on social media to say they're going to send out a tweet that they like a certain product. They're not saying that just because they think it's awesome. They're saying it because they've been paid. So it's like a sneaky way type of advertising without actually putting that person on in an actual commercial. It's really easy. Put out a tweet, with their name on it, and then they make lots of money. And that's minimal effort on their part. Now we got through social media, we're going to go over just a handful of different conventional persuasive strategies. I'm sure you've noticed all of these different types throughout the multitude of commercials out there, but there's lots of different strategies of how to go about persuading people and trying to separate them from their money. So that's what we're going to go over now. The ad agencies have been saying for years, the whole point of us is to let people know out there what's out there and in a straightforward way. This is what we have. If you watch any commercial, you know that's not necessarily the case. That's why they're doing lots of stories, and you only have a certain amount of time to be able to advertise whatever it is you're advertising. It doesn't matter about the format. It could be online. It could be a radio commercial, a television commercial. They're not that long, and or print, and it's just one page. You can't have too much in there. Someone's not going to sit there and read all that time. That's why commercials are so short. Most commercials go for like 30 seconds. Heck, they've gone down more to like 15 a lot of the times. Yes, Super Bowl has longer commercials, but that's its thing. That's what they do. Now, the first one is famous person testimonial. You've seen this countless times.
I don't want to make it tough. I just want to tell you that I've had enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby.
See?
Bye.
Heck, if you look at the quick montage of clips I did for the opening of the video, I had Justin Timberlake and Christopher Walken doing Bye Bye Water.
5 calories, no artificial sweeteners, and taste amazing.
And also Anthony Hopkins was doing something for Alexa. That's just 2 right there. This is a tried and true strategy. It's been happening for years and years and years. Heck, since print. And it continues on. Just think about it. Beyonce's done Pepsi. Professional athletes are always selling stuff. I mean, Michael Jordan for all those years, LeBron James. They make so much money on so many different things. They make more money in endorsements than they do from actually playing the game. So that's become a huge aspect, and they become their own marketable commodity in itself. That ability to be able to become an advertising icon makes them an entire marketable commodity upon itself. They become, the person themselves becomes an empire.
You don't want to get his hair wet. Pretty boy.
Next one is the plain folks pitch. This is when there's a new technology, new product out there, and they're telling the people, this is how this new product fits into my life. This is how it fits into your life. Okay? This is why you should buy it. This would just fit in perfectly for who you are. You, that shopper. So you need to buy this because this would fit in perfectly to you. They're not going to try to hoodwink you with fancy celebrities or sparkly lights. They're going to say, this product or service fits in perfectly for who you are, John or Jane Q public. This is why you need to buy this. The next is a snob appeal approach. They're advertising certain items that many people need, but they're better. It's like your luxury cars. Yes, you need some sort of transportation, but do you really need the Porsche 975? I don't even know if it's a number. That's an actual number. But or the Mercedes, or I need the Rolls Royce. You don't really need it, but anybody who's anybody will want to be noticed if they have this certain product. And they even do it with water. I mean, it's water. And, but it's from the mountains of remote France, so that makes it better. And people buy it. You know, is it? What is it? It's just basically water, and it's got nice packaging, but people fall for it because it's the best. But this will continue to work. Then, of course, there's the bandwagon effect. Everyone get on the bandwagon. We all love this. Everybody, America's favorite fill in the blank. This is America's favorite pizza. This is America's favorite burger joint. This is America's favorite shoe. Everybody wants to be included. Everyone wants to be on the biggest, newest, greatest trend. That's what the bandwagon effect is. Has always worked, will continue to work from now on to many, many years in the future. But then you go on to the other side. Then you also have the hidden fear appeal. All right, what is the hidden fear appeal? Well, hidden fear appeal deals with people and their insecurities. Things that we all need. Deodorant. Oh no, you smell terribly. Your deodorant failed you. If you don't do that, if you don't buy this certain product, you're doomed. You will stink. You will have terrible hair. Your breath will be terrible, and everybody will run away when they try to talk to you. Oh no! Oh no! What will you do? There's the hidden fear appeal, because you don't want that to happen, do you? Then there's the irritation advertising. These are the things that are supposed to get on your nerves. But in another way, you remember it. It gets stuck in your head. And then there's the chance that you might just buy it. You might have noticed some local car dealerships that use this tactic because they're local car dealerships. Kind of like this one.
Experience the Dean's difference at Dean's Auto Plaza.
Dean's different.
Tired of the same old...
See, my wife hates this commercial. It runs up in Pennsylvania by us. It's based in Hanover, which is in York County. It's not that far away from Towson, but it works. They remember that annoying woo. It's so aggravating. WPMT Fox 43 in York had this dealership as a sponsor for their high school football frenzy. For every Friday night, they had that program. He became one of their sponsors. They even did a promo with this guy to advertise the high school football show. So that shows you it still works. Now we're dealing with what is called the association principle. Alright, basically it's a pretty simple concept, but it works very well. And they would answer some questions of why do they do this. Well, basically they're trying to come up with some value, some image that has no actual connection or reality to what that is being sold. One of the best examples of this is when you're watching a car commercial and you see the car. Oh, look at the car! It's going through the wheat fields, or it's going through the mountains in this nice winding road. Look at it! Oh, it seems so wonderful, just flowing back and forth and up the hills and over to grandmother's house we go. But think about when you're really driving. It's traffic jams a lot of the times. It's waiting in traffic. It's stopping for every other light. It's showing how wonderfully that car is cruising, how nice it looks in an environment chances are you may never see yourself in. Maybe you do one day, but for the most part you don't. But it doesn't matter. It looks nice. It flows. It's going so wonderfully, but it has no real sense of reality with it. Another instance, it could be something such as patriotism. After September 11th, there were commercials produced in a patriotic way to harness the feelings of what was going on afterwards. Believe it or not, the country was very united at that time. We had just been attacked. Over 3,000 people were brutally murdered in a heinous, disgusting attack. For a little while there, the country was united. Despite our previous disagreements and political leanings and different groupings, and people actually got along for a little while because it was somebody else. There was someone else who attacked us, and we all huddled together and came together as one, and of course, as we know, that's gone to hell. Advertisers saw this. They saw a big surge in patriotism, and they, in some ways, worked that into their advertising campaigns to take advantage of the feelings of that time. And so now we've got the association principle, but believe it or not, there's a disassociation principle. Basically, what this is sometimes there's a company that puts out a certain product, and maybe sometimes people don't necessarily like that product, or maybe they've done something bad, or they've messed up in some, or maybe they're just considered to be a certain level that they would never sell this. What they'll do is they create something that might be similar to what they do, but they know they can't get away with it by using their. One such example is the Gallo Wine Company. They were the biggest winery in the country. They had some, for a little while there, they had some labor issues with some migrant workers working in their field. Plus, they had this aura of being wine. So what did they do? They created...
Hello there. My name is Frank Bartles, and this is Ed James.
They created Bartles and James wine coolers. It was back in the 80s. I remember this. I loved those commercials. Now, I didn't think there was a Frank Bartles and Ed James. I didn't think they had their own little wine cooler company, because wine coolers started to become real popular back then. So Gallo decided they wanted to get in on the popularity of this, because they are a wine company. They knew they couldn't get away with selling Gallo wine coolers, so they created a fake brand, a fake name. I thought it might have been owned by some other corporate entity, and it was, but I didn't know it was a wine company. So here, take a look at this.
You know, I had almost forgotten the 4th of July was coming up, which would have been embarrassing, as that is Ed's sister's nephew, Oscar's birthday. So every year, just about everybody takes off work and has a picnic or fireworks in legally approved areas.
So you see these two older guys, and it's actually, they were pretty funny. I like these. I like these, and it worked. It worked very, very well. It had a very big mainstream following, very middle class following. People loved the commercials, and they gave those wine coolers a try, even though most people didn't realize they were from Gallo. So we see an example right there how that worked.
Thank you very much for your support